Hi everyone, Roger Reinert down here at the Capitol. Was hoping to be home with you today. The Visit Duluth Annual Luncheon is one of my favorite events of the year. As many of you know, I served on the board for several years and I'm a big fan of our tourism community, our hospitality community. But of course we're sort of up against it here at the end of the session. We've got just under 2 weeks now left to go, which means session pretty much every day. A little bit hard to get away, but wanted to share with you a couple things in these few minutes I had. You know, we have tall ships coming up this summer, and one of my very favorite literary passages is one from Mark Twain in a book that he wrote titled Following the Equator. And in this one section, he talks about pulling into a port in the South Pacific. In the afternoon, we sighted Suva, the capital of the group, and threaded our way into a little harbor. A few ships rode anchor in it, one of them a sailing vessel flying the American flag. And they said she came from Duluth. Thought this part was especially pertinent since we have the tall ships coming up this year. Now there's a journey. Duluth is several thousand miles from the sea, and yet she is entitled to the proud name of Mistress of the Commercial Marine of the United States of America. There is only one free, independent, unsubsidized American ship sailing the foreign seas, and Duluth owns it. All by itself, it is making foreign eyes familiar with a flag they have not seen before outside of a museum. For what Duluth has done in building, equipping, and maintaining at her sole expense the American foreign commercial fleet, we owe her a debt of gratitude. They who live under their shelter will drink this one standing uncovered cheer. Health and prosperity to thee, O Duluth, American Queen of the Sailing Seas. Thought that was just appropriate for a hospitality tourism community that's getting ready for a huge event this summer, Tall Ships 13. But what I really wanted to take a minute to do today was read to you a resolution that I passed earlier this session for Terry Mattson. As we all know, Terry's been the leader of our tourism industry for a long time now and has really done a stellar job. And this past year, he was named the outstanding tourism professional in the state of Minnesota. So whereas each year at its annual conference, Explore Minnesota Tourism, the state's largest tourism office, recognizes the outstanding work done by individuals, businesses, and destinations. And whereas Terry Mattson, President and CEO of Visit Duluth, has nearly 3 decades of experience marketing Duluth's hospitality industry, including 23 years at the head of Visit Duluth, and his leadership role has helped Duluth's tourism revenues increase from $80 million a year in the late 1980s to nearly $800 million today. And whereas Terry began his career with Grandma's Marathon, joined Visit Duluth in 1985 with the responsibility of developing major special events, and was in charge of public relations and sales prior to becoming president in 1990. And whereas, or I'm sorry, 1990, and whereas in 1991 he created what is known as the Amsoil Duluth National Snowcross. Still a big fan, I know that. Snowmobile racing's largest and oldest snowcross event that kicks off a season-long national series. And whereas in 2008 he developed a series of maritime festivals for Duluth, culminating in Tall Ships 2010, one of the grandest and most successful tall ship events in the country, and arguably northern Minnesota's largest event. And whereas he is past president of the Minnesota Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, and currently serves with both the Minnesota Tourism Advisory Council and the Minnesota Tourism Growth Coalition, and whereas he was named one of 10 Duluth movers and shakers by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal, and also recently received the Minnesota Meetings Hospitality Journalism Vision Award for leadership following the June 2012 flood. And whereas in February 12, 2013, Terry was named Minnesota's Outstanding Individual in Tourism, an award that is the top state honor for Minnesota's nearly $12 billion tourism industry. This award came from Explore Minnesota Tourism. Therefore, be it resolved by the Minnesota Senate of the state of Minnesota that we congratulate Terry Mattson on being named Minnesota's Outstanding Individual in Tourism and commend him on his lifelong role in driving tourism forward in Duluth, northern Minnesota, and throughout the state. Therefore, be it resolved that the Secretary of the Senate is directed to prepare an enrolled copy of this resolution authenticated by the Secretary's signature. I got to sign it too. And the chair of the Senate Rules Committee, that'd be Senator Bach, and transmit it to Terry Matson. I know it's there with you in Duluth. I've asked Councilor Dan Hartman to physically present it to Terry. Dan took my place on the Visit Duluth Council and is doing a wonderful role. So have a wonderful luncheon. Congratulations, Terry. I wish I were there to present it to you in person, and I thank Councilor Hartman for doing that job for me today. Have a great luncheon, everyone.